G'day Gear Junkies, Jason here. As a music teacher, I often think about what it would be like to create ultimate bands, taking a bunch of generational musicians from different periods and putting them together to make this kind of, ultimate band. And seeing at the moment that I haven't had time to do many gear demos, I thought I'd start a discussion about who would be in your ultimate grunge band. But before I go too far, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe. And if you want to see me do more discussion-based videos like this one, let me know in the comments below. So the grunge movement starts in the mid-80s when a lot of these bands start to form, most of which came from the Seattle region. Seattle, because of its isolation up in the Northwest, had created its own music scene because a lot of touring bands just wouldn't go there because it was out of the way. So to keep themselves entertained, they developed their own music scene, and the bands there were very supportive of each other. They would go to each other's gigs. Quite often, the only people in the crowd would be band members from other bands. Some of the bands around at this time were the Screaming Trees, the Melvins, Mother Love Bone, and Mudhoney. And then there was the big four Seattle bands, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, and Soundgarden. I'm going to focus mainly on those four bands, and I'm going to add into it a couple of bands that were not from Seattle, which were Smashing Pumpkins and Stone Temple Pilots. The main criteria I have for this band are ability, individuality, and if that band member was a songwriter and could contribute to the songwriting process. Now, please leave a comment below and tell me who would be in your ultimate grunge band. This would be really fun to see what people come up with. Starting with the drummers, my contenders are Jimmy Chamberlin of Smashing Pumpkins, Dave Grohl of Nirvana, Matt Cameron of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, and Sean Kinney of Alice in Chains. These guys are all fantastic drummers. I don't think that Sean Kinney and Jimmy Chamberlin get enough attention. I think they are terrific and very much underrated. But my choices are really down to Matt Cameron and Dave Grohl. Now, Matt Cameron is adept at playing in a number of different time signatures. He has great feel. He's an incredibly versatile drummer. But the guy I've picked for the band is Dave Grohl. The reason I've gone with Dave Grohl, one, he had limitless energy. He was also a backing vocalist. He sang on the song Polly for Nirvana. And of course, he was a songwriter. Love him or hate him, he's probably one of the most recognizable people in rock and roll today. So I think he'd have to be my choice for the drummer. So the contenders for my bass player would be Robert DeLeo of Stone Temple Pilots, Ben Shepherd from Soundgarden, Jeff Ament from Pearl Jam, Mike Starr and Mike Inez from Alice in Chains, and Chris Novoselic from Nirvana. Now, all of these guys are super underrated members of their bands. They were all very solid rhythmically, but I think about three of them were very good melodically, and that would be Mike Inez, Jeff Ament, and Robert DeLeo. And out of those three guys, Robert DeLeo is the most prolific songwriter. Not just a prolific songwriter, but he had a very interesting style. He had a lot of background in jazz, so some of the things that he would do were not things you really heard other rock bands do. So he was a very unique bass player, had some great chops, and he would be the bass player in my band. Next up, we have the guitarists, and this was probably the easiest choice for me. From Soundgarden, we've got Kim Thayil. We've got Mike McCready and Stone Gossard from Pearl Jam, Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, and Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains. All of these guys were prolific songwriters. Some of them were also vocalists. Most of them were fairly unique in their style. So Billy Corgan has a very unique style, as does Kim Thayil, as does Kurt Cobain and Jerry Cantrell. But one guitarist sort of had the whole package plus the tone. Two of them had just amazing guitar tone, that'd be Kim Thayil and Jerry Cantrell. But Jerry Cantrell was a great singer. He could also be a lead singer if need be, but he's a fantastic backing vocalist and a very unique player. And I think he had more chops than all of the other guys as well. He was just a terrific guitar player. Lastly, we've got our vocalist, and this was the most difficult decision to make out of the whole lot because there's just so many generational voices in this group of singers. So I'm going to throw all of the singers from all of these bands into the mix here. So we've got Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, Chris Cornell from Soundgarden, Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots, Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam, Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, and Lane Staley from Alice in Chains. All of these guys were incredibly emotive singers. They could really make you feel something in the pit of your stomach. They could deliver an absolute gut punch with the power of their voices, but a few of them could also really demonstrate their fragility as well, which was kind of haunting. All of these guys had amazing character in their voice, so it was very easy to pick them out and be able to say, that's a Nirvana song or that's a Pearl Jam song, even if you'd never heard it before. But three of these vocalists had amazing dexterity and vocal ability beyond the emotiveness and the power and all that sort of stuff. And they were, for me, Scott Weiland, Lane Staley, and Chris Cornell. It was incredibly hard to split these three vocalists. But when I looked at individuality, I think that one of those vocalists sort of fell short there, and I think that was Scott Weiland. He was accused of being an Eddie Vedder impersonator when their first album came out, which was Plush. I think he really found his voice on their second album, which was Purple. I don't think he sounds anything like Eddie Vedder on that album. Still an amazing vocalist, but I'm going to have to cut Scott, which leaves Lane Staley and Chris Cornell. Now, Lane Staley's probably my favorite. I absolutely love Lane Staley's voice. When I said before that fragility, if you listen to a song like Nutshell, you can hear the pain, you can hear the anguish of that person inside, but you can also peel the paint off the walls with songs like Man in a Box. But even so, I couldn't pick him ahead of Chris Cornell. Chris Cornell was a generational voice. He was more prolific as a songwriter, and he also played guitar, so he gives me a second guitarist in my band as well. Enormous vocal range, and he was more productive in his time than Lane Staley was as well. So, sorry Lane, I'm going to have to go with Chris Cornell.
How would I know that this could be my fate?
So here's my ultimate grunge band. On drums and backing vocals, I've got Dave Grohl. On bass, I've got Robert DeLeo. On guitar and backing vocals, I've got Jerry Cantrell. And on rhythm guitar and lead vocals, I've got Chris Cornell. So if you think you can beat that, please let me know in the comments below who would be in your ultimate grunge band. And if there's any other videos like this you want me to make, please let me know in the comments and I might just get around to that. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. You can support this channel by going to the Middle Age Gear Junkie store and buying some merchandise, or you can also support me on Patreon where I'm uploading additional content. Other than that, my name is Jason. Have a wonderful day. See you later.